see this go up the coast, but we still have that upper level entity, which you could see spinning on the satellite imagery, which is super cool. Heavy rain is just offshore. Can you imagine if this was still? I mean, we're talking just miles to the west. It would be absolutely catastrophic probably at this hour if we were still seeing that intensity of rain coming. It's now basically over the Bahamas for us, and you can see everything is going to be pulling northbound, but we still have that upper level energy that's spinning around. And Jim was mentioning, don't ever sleep on that upper level low, as we always say. At the least, it's going to give you cloudy weather, and it could also give you some showers and storms. But everything will start improving as we head into the weekend, which is good. So tomorrow, for our Friday, the sunshine is back. We will see those temperatures again into the 80s for us. But through tomorrow, with all of this kind of moving up the coast, there's that potential for another 1 to 2 inches here around the Space Coast. And we do have that coastal flood advisory. And if you get that onshore push, that can make those waters come up. So it's something that we watch for carefully. Winds, so those wind gusts that Jim was showing you, those thunderstorm wind gusts up to 75 miles an hour. That is impressive, and we could see more of that wind before this really starts to pull away. So the potential for some delays here with flights trying to take off for us, but we will again see improving conditions when it comes to the winds as we head into tomorrow. So that's excellent. Look how close, though. I mean, this is torrential rain here. If that was still sitting over, you know, Palm Beach down to Miami-Dade, Broward counties, it would just be horrific. It'd be like what we saw in April again with the 20+ inches of rain, which is one of the reasons at Fort Lauderdale, though they've stopped reporting, we are certain that it is going to be the wettest year on record there, beating the old record of 102 inches set back in 1947. So there you can see that east wind kind of pushing the showers ashore, and Reynolds, that of course is what will make those water rises too here along the Space Coast. So let's have a closer look at this coastal storm and what it does next, Reynolds.
You bet, Steph.
Next week we have that one big storm, and then that's kind of it, right? And then that's kind of it. Then it's quiet. Thanksgiving Day is pretty quiet. It's pretty quiet.
We'll see.
Big overall disruptive
right. Nothing
thing,
blockbusting.
You know,
absolutely right.
Which it means that our travel should be somewhat smooth. At least you can't blame the weather on a lot of things, unless you're doing that Tuesday, Wednesday travel, then maybe you can. But look at all the people that will be traveling. 49 million a car, nearly 5 in a plane, and buses and cruises and trains, 1.5 million people. So here's the national gas prices. The national average 3.345. While above in the west, while the southeast is where it's at for the good gas prices. Tomorrow, if you're starting to travel, kicking off early, we are dealing with this little system moving east, so maybe a few delays for you. But again, it's not some big block. We could have a big winter storm. We could have frozen precip. We don't have any huge, massive storm coming in. We do have some weather here along the west coast, and then that is all going to progress east as we head into our Sunday. And then there is a slight chance that this could slow us down at some of the airports and also on some of the roads, Jim. So getting that early start is always the way to go. Take your time, your patience. I feel like
weather always seems to find a way, though, to just make it in the chuck.
Mess up a lot of, and then the roads
flights,
for the ice.
Flights, right? The flights are
That's
packed.
really it, though, thankfully. Then we calm down after that, guy.
Yes, Thanksgiving looks great.
Coming up at noon on Pattern today, this church is doing more. It's Thursday, November 16th at America's Morning headquarters. South Florida is waking up to another soggy stretch. Heavy rain, widespread flooding, and gusty winds slam metro areas. The downpours causing school closures in Broward County. I want to talk about Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale stopped responding. The rain gauge stopped working yesterday. It has been a tremendous year of rainfall for us. In April, we had over 20 inches of rain in just one event here. We have had multiple months where we've been above average. And by the way, we have not had any tropical entities. This rainfall total does not include yesterday, because the rain gauge stopped working. Why am I showing you this? We have 101 inches of rain in Fort Lauderdale for the year. The record that we have to break is 102 point some odd inches. So we're pretty certain that the record was broken yesterday with the wettest year ever in Fort Lauderdale. But the problem is, Reynolds, our rain gauge was like, this is too much even for me, but they will assess that, and they have other gauges. They'll be able to figure it out, hopefully.
Yeah, so the gauge is basically okay.
Nothing bad happens ever. Deep water watery continues with episodes of Lords of the Ocean. Reynolds, give it to me. You'll do that better. Lords of the Ocean.
Lords of the Ocean.
Starting tonight at 8/7 Central right here on the Weather Channel. I knew I couldn't do it justice, Jim. I knew I couldn't.
That's fantastic.
You're going back to average, essentially, right?
Exactly.
At the top of the hour on America's Morning Headquarters. Heavy down in Tampa, but we still have to deal with what's happening in Miami-Dade. We want to talk about the rivers of water that were running through the streets with meteorologist Mike Seidel, who's joining us live from soggy city of Miami. Mike, let's talk about the water receding, because places like this, yes, you get 2-3 inches an hour, it's going to cause flooding. But we have that sandy soil, which helps a lot of spots, obviously not the concrete, but at least we have that sandy soil around to help with the drainage.
Yeah, exactly. So in
South Florida, from Fort Lauderdale down to Miami, just got to watch out for those gators, snakes, and other critters in that floodwater. Mike, thank you for that. Let's have a look at what's going to happen with this system and time it out, because as we head into really this afternoon and tomorrow, things are going to be much improved for us. Right now, just clouds, light rain. The heaviest stuff is right over the Bahamas, and we've got quite the swirl that is raining out over the island nation there. And we still have that upper level energy swirling in the Gulf of Mexico. That's got to pull through as well. You can see it's kind of diving south there. And we'll still stay in the clouds through the day on Friday, but things at least aren't going to be super soggy, and the wind is also going to taper off as well. So tomorrow, notice that sunshine coming back from the Panhandle to the peninsula here, and the rain will be offshore and moving up the coast. We'll talk about that because it's going to be quite a little potent storm moving up the coast. 1 to 2 inches of rain through tomorrow. Again, mainly, let's say, Space Coast, northbound to the First Coast, with that east wind and onshore push. That could give us some coastal flooding too. And notice the winds. Now, I know they're not as bad, Mike was saying there in Miami. I just heard from my best friend in Boca, and she was like, Steph, what's going on with these winds? Is it okay to send the kids to school type of thing? Yes, if the school buses can run, then, let's get them into school, because I think in South Florida, at least her kids have all of next week off for Thanksgiving. So let's have them in school as much as humanly possible. There's our clouds from Boca to Fort Pierce, West Palm, you're in on that, Palm Beach Gardens. We could see a little bit of rain as we head through the day today. Some of it will be heavy at times. So, just watch out for that, those lingering raindrops here. And as we go up towards Orlando, there's that east wind coming in, Daytona Beach, Titusville, down towards Port St. Lucie, Jensen Beach, all those areas, and north up to St. Augustine too. We're going to see on and off showers for us through the day. But Reynolds, at least we're getting it out of the way in time for the weekend.
Oh, you're right about that, huh?
I have not, Steph.
So I tried it for the first time like a couple months ago.
And?
Because we went to dinner and one of my husband's friends was like, oh, I ended up staying at like 2.5 minutes or something. I'm like, okay, let me try. Long story short, I got in. I lasted, I kid you not, it was like 5 seconds. I thought I couldn't breathe. It literally took my breath away. I worked myself up to 30 whole seconds, and it was awful.
But they say
couldn't breathe.
I got 90 to break.
Let's show you what else is going to be interesting here on America's Morning Headquarters. Well, the effects of the warming climate are being felt in every corner of our country and across the world. That's just one of the many realities released in the National Climate Assessment Report earlier this week.
As the holiday travel kicks into high gear, which we know it is today, some destinations are focusing on combating climate change. Here to talk about some of those spots is meteorologist and travel journalist Jennifer Broom, our good friend. Jen, if you were a little farther north, you could do a tropical update for us this morning in the Bahamas. Yeah. But let's talk about snorkeling with a purpose as you're coming up from us from Nassau.
Yeah, guys, I am blaming that this is the
broccoli in the mashed potatoes, which a lot of parents will be doing, especially over the next week. Let's talk the other end of the spectrum, sustainable skiing.
So this is
one from Nassau to Banff, just like that. Hydrotherapy hot right now in wellness travel. Where are some steamy spots in Colorado?
Oh, I'm taking you.
That is really impressive and really fun.
Broom, do you need an assistant by any chance?
Yeah, guys, come on. Of course, thanks for sending the tropical rain to me. I really appreciate it, but it is better in the Bahamas.
It'll be out of there in no time.
Don't worry about it.
Jennifer Broom, meteorologist and travel journalist.
You're awesome, Jen. Thank you.
We'll further the climate conversation at noon on Pattern, talking about the resilient church and flights fueled by French fry oil.
We need to do some of that stuff.
We all need to do some of that stuff.
Yes.
Let's go. Yeah. November 30th, but we can't have systems past that date.
Can.
Let's get you out the door in the Midwest, because the Midwest found tree branches as well.
Split
in
palm
Miami.
Trees. Did you see
yes.
that?
So let's turn to Miami-Dade County, where we had rivers of water. Meteorologist Mike Seidel joins us from Soggy, Miami. Mike, have you seen any of those down branches in the area you're at, or just the flooding?
Just the flooding here.
Hurricane season goes to November 30th. You know, Mike, I've seen you push cars out of snowbanks, seen you shovel, I've seen you brush off cars. Are you only a helper in the snow, or why weren't you out there cleaning that drain up?
Clean that drain out.
So I'm not,
well, I will make sure. Mike, thanks for your report and playing along with us this morning when we like to give you a little bit of a hard time. We're all like brothers and sisters here. We're a family. So we're just messing with Mikey, and he does not get offended at all. All right. But it's true, right? We've seen him, Cantori, do everything else. We got to get him on the storm drain team.
We got to do that. We got to get it out there.
That's a good lesson, though. A good reminder for everybody. If we tell you, because we told you yesterday, we could see double-digit rainfall, get the storm drains cleared. It is key. So we do have a few. Say it again. Don't let the kids do it. Yes.
Yeah, they can be very
job.
dangerous.
That's a very good point, Jim. Do not let the kids do it. Also, just be careful when you're doing it, too. All of this heavy rain is going to continue to pull away from Florida. Jim was mentioning our swirl out here. Don't let these fool you. They can give you some ascent right around them and ahead of them as well. Showers here. We need it desperately into the west coast of Florida. But things will be improving for us as we go through the day today, and especially as we head into tomorrow, this weekend. Mwah! Just stunning for us here into South Florida, back to the 80s and the sunshine, which is what we'll start getting into tomorrow, and they'll continue Saturday into Sunday. But it's up the coast, the Space Coast, the First Coast, where we are going to get another 1 to 2 inches of rain, an onshore push, giving us some of that coastal rise as well. And the winds will start to improve through the day here into South Florida, and they'll start to go downhill as we go up the coast. So you can have some bumpy rides if you're flying out of South Florida, because they take off, go over the water, and then come back up. So it could be a little bumpy, but, you know, for the most part, we're finished with it. Can't rule out like a sprinkle or two. Our model's not really initializing great to start. So I think that we're majority really kind of done with this, and it's going to keep pulling out. But again, I can't rule out a little sprinkle or two. But the real heavy stuff, Reynolds, is most certainly finished.
Oh, that's
a couple of days you're fine, right? But then we're going to have big storm next week, kind of Tuesday, Wednesday. That could mess you up. But that's really it. Is that Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. So sorry if you're traveling then. Millions upon millions of millions of millions of people. We get a lot of people here traveling via train, bus, cruise, plane. Exactly. Gas prices are lowest here in the southeast. Highest as you look west and also into the northeast. But let's talk about details. So tomorrow we have our system that is going to bring us some rain. Listen, I don't think none of these storms like a blockbuster snowstorm that's going to cripple an airport, which is good. We've got some rain, so you could have some delays. But I think overall, I'm feeling pretty good about Thanksgiving travel. Yes, as we head into next week, we are going to see a system cross the country, and it is going to have some gusty winds with it. But I also don't think it's going to be a system that's going to absolutely cripple everything here. So that is good. We are going to see rain. We'll see some snow. There's a little bit of ice that will get into the northeast. So keep that in mind as you're making all your plans here, Jim, that we do have a system, but I don't want everyone to panic is what I'm trying to do here, Jim.
No, it's not a block.
It's Thursday, November 16th at America's Morning Headquarters, South Florida, waking up to trees on the ground, flooded roadways. There was heavy rainfall, widespread winds also slamming major metro areas. And that is causing school closures in Broward County. Miami-Dade and Palm Beach County are still in school. Fort Lauderdale, we got to talk about Fort Lauderdale. We did not have a tropical storm or a hurricane this year at all. And look at this rainfall in April. We had over 20 inches one day, and it was just horrific, causing major problems. We've been above average for many months here on rainfall. Again, none of this due to a tropical entity. Looking at November, we've had 3.17 inches. The rain gauge stopped reporting the rainfall. It was so much yesterday. So we're expecting this number to go up tremendously. And of course, we still have December, but we are at officially 101 inches for the year. The record for the wettest year ever in Fort Lauderdale, 102 point some odd inches. We have no doubt, Reynolds, that we got, a couple inches yesterday and will put us over the edge, making it the wettest year on record.
My
Redonkulous numbers.
Kansas has been stuck in a drought since last July. And right now the clock is ticking for the city of Caney.
City officials are worried that they may actually run out of water by the first of the year, which is, I mean, that's a big worry. Caney City Manager Kelly Zellner joins us now to talk a little bit more about this water crisis and what's to be done about it. Thanks for talking to us, sir. I know this is kind of a, touch and go situation here. The city usually averages about 4 inches of rain by November for the month. You've gotten about half of that, but the whole problem's been building all year, hasn't it?
Yes, it really has.
Conserve water. And what are you doing for businesses and schools, which typically use a lot of water?
Well, the school is.
What about people's homes? I mean, is there a chance that people at home will have to take, waterless showers as well in the near future?
So, Wichita Falls, Texas, had a big water problem, and they actually went and took water from the sewage treatment plant and recycled it and put that back into the system. Is that dire that you guys are thinking about something like that, or do you have other sources of getting the water into Caney?